What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. So I'm going to try to make some sense out of this nonsense bill that Nancy Pelosi is proposing as far as the relief bill for the coronavirus shutdown. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was a board member and we were responsible for hiring a CEO that is able to put together a budget and prioritize and say, here's the things we need to run the company, I don't know if I'd pick the Democrats. That's all I'm saying. In fact, I know that I wouldn't pick the Democrats. Now, I used to own a business many years ago, and I noticed something. When you are given limited resources and you're the person responsible for those resources, meaning the money's coming out of your hands, you're very selective on what you decide to purchase. Everything you purchase have to be directed back towards making the business operate and function, the necessities. Unless you have an overwhelming amount of money and resources, you don't go and start throwing in a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff that has nothing to do with the business. So, say I'm opening up a restaurant and I'm like, all right, let's see, we need food, we need the kiosk system, we need a pop machine, we need some grills, we need an oven. That's what we need. We need freezers, we need a refrigerator, we need a sink to clean all of this stuff up, cutting boards, some utensils, all that stuff to make food. We need chairs, we need menus, we need tables, we need napkins, we need forks, knives, so on and so forth. What we don't need is a disco ball. We don't need a smoothie machine unless we're a smoothie serving restaurant. We don't sit back and say, you know what? Let's go ahead, bring in a karaoke machine. We need that in the restaurant. Let's bring in some unnecessary fish tanks. These are wish lists. These are things that you say, as we get going, then maybe we could start being more creative when it comes down to what we want to put in the business. But until then, we got to stick with the things that will make the operation function day to day to day. Unlike the Democrats. Now, I've come to the conclusion. The reason these people have put these things in here, because guess what? It's not their money. It's not their money they're spending. If they were running the country like a business, let's just pretend for a second that this was Nancy Pelosi's own finance project. It's her business. Here's the things that she would put in it, okay? Now, we got the United States. It's all, say, one company, and Nancy's over it. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to need $100 million for the NASA, $20 billion for USPS, United States Postal Service. Now, remember, we're just trying to get open and function. We need the bare necessities. Things that we don't need right now, we probably shouldn't be funding. 20 billion to, oh, I said that, 300 million to the endowment for the arts, 300 million to the endowment for humanities, 15 million to veterans employment training, 435 million to mental health support, 30 billion to the Department of Education Stabilization Fund, 20 million to Safe Schools Emergency Response to Violence Programs, 300 million to public broadcasting, 50 million to museums and libraries, 720 million to Social Security Administration, broken down like this: 200 million for payments to recipients, 520 million for administration. For administration. Okay. All right, 25 million for cleaning supplies for the Capitol building, 7 million for the Smithsonian for additional salaries, 35 million for the JFK Center for Performing Arts, 25 million to additional salaries for the House of Representatives. Oh, they gave themselves a raise. How cool is that? 3 billion to upgrade IT at the VA, 315 million to State Department diplomatic programs, 95 million to agencies of international development. $300 million to the international disaster assistance. $300 million to migrant and refugee assistance. $90 million to the Peace Corps. $13 million to Howard University. $9 million miscellaneous Senate expenses. $100 million to essential air carriers. $1 billion to airline recycle and save programs. $40 billion to take responsibility to Workers and Families Act. $25 million for the FAA for administration costs. $492 million to the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, Amtrak. $526 million grants to the Amtrak. And it says on page 174, the secretary to allocate funds, I guess how he sees fit. $25 billion to transit infrastructure. $3 million to the Maritime Administration. $5 million to salaries and expenses of office and the Inspector General. What else we got here? Oh, how about this? And then, of course, that would leave 650, I guess, maybe million. What is it? Wait, let's see. Page 650. Okay. Includes no voter IDs and anonymous ballot harvesting. How about that? I mean, because remember, we're trying to just get the country open and operate on the bare necessities. But these are the priorities of the person we put in charge to start the business and run it until we get back on our feet. Let's continue. $5 million, community planning and development. $2.5 million to Office of Housing. $1.5 million, billion with the B, to tenant-based rental assistance, Office of Public and Indian Housing. $1 billion of it to be used as additional administrative and other expenses. $720 million to Public Housing Fund. $100 million to the Community Block Grant for Native Americans. $250 million for housing block grants for tribes. $130 million for AIDS housing. $20 million of it to go to the one-time grantees. $15 billion to Community Development Fund. $10 million for infrastructure to fight infectious disease. $5 billion to homeless assistance. $100 billion for rental assistance. $7 million for enforcement of the Fair Housing Act. $1 billion for free mobile phones for the needy. On page 213, paid family leave for sickness is 2 paid work weeks. Okay. Emergency family leave now applied to all employees, not just companies over 500 employees. Okay. Now, check this out. We're coming down the stretch. $227 million for grants to states for youth activities. Yeah, we really need that right now. $261 million for grants to states for dislocated worker employment and training activities, including supportive service and need related payments. $10 million to migrants and seasonal farm workers. That means people who don't live in the country. $100 million to Job Corp. $15 million program administration. $6.5 million for wage of hour division, whatever that is. $30 million to OSHA. $10 million for Susan Hardwood training grants. $1.3 billion to primary health care. $75 million for student aid administration, and $9.5 billion to higher education. So there you go. The goal is to get the company up and running, stick with the main ingredients, the stuff that we need right now, and this is what she comes back with. Only because it's not her money. She's spending our money. So instead of all of these billions of dollars thrown in here that has nothing to do with the coronavirus, this money should be going towards things that like respirators, masks. It should be going towards the companies that the companies that supply jobs for all of the workers And it should be going towards the workers. That's what it should be going towards. But all of this crap is a wish list. So now, when you look at the Democrats as if we the people who would be the board members and we're responsible for hiring CEOs, CFOs, and top administrators to run your company. And they come into the boardroom with this garbage and they sit that down and you say, okay, so wait a minute. What does all this have to do with fighting the coronavirus, making sure companies don't go bankrupt, and making sure people have money in their pocket, and make sure we got enough medical supplies to help the people, and then some money should go towards research for dealing with this crap? What does this have to do with any of that? They wouldn't be able to tell you anything. If this was corporate America, none of these people would be hired. They would all be fired if they were hired by coming in and giving you something like that. But the reason they're not being fired is because you got knuckleheads on the board, meaning the voters who vote them in, who don't understand economics. They don't understand, how all of this needs to work so that the country don't implode on itself for being shut down for 2 or 3 weeks or even more. So sometimes you got to bring the information to the board members so that they can see it versus just relying that they're just simply going to say, let me look into this before I give my signature. So hopefully people who are going to be voting for the Democrats to run the country again in November, you might want to think twice. You got to look at the country like a business. And if you're looking at it like a business, do you want somebody prioritizing this crap when we are in a crisis? That's my question. That's all I got. Does any of that make sense? No, it doesn't. It's nonsense. And if they were spending their hard-earned dollars instead of ours, okay, they would not prioritize with this stuff. They would say, whoa, let's shear the fat, cut all that mess off. We're going to stick with the bulk of the piece of meat. We want nothing but lean meat, nothing but lean, no fat on it at all. So that's what we're working with when it comes down to the demo rats. Somebody out there, please try to make sense out of that nonsense. Now, you've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner. Don't forget to check me out every Wednesday night, 7:30, live in Kevin's Corner on YouTube, Facebook, my radio blog talk show. Also, hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, and the notification button. Let's see. Make sure you're still subscribing. Your notifications are set to all. Also, if you want to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's a link below this video to do so. And I will tell you this. I'm working on a platform that will give me just autonomy. I won't be held and constricted by YouTube. And so therefore, I'll be able to say what I want. It's going to be Kevin's Corner Uncensored, okay? So keep an eye out and an ear out for that. And other than that, check out Extreme Tees. If you like something, put Kevin in the promo code. You get a 20% discount. And we will see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. God bless.